Okay, so welcome to this Metal3 Community meeting. We are going to start with the introduction round. So if we have new people in this meeting who want to introduce themselves, please feel free and take the stage now. Okay, well, if we don't have anybody interested in this, let's dive straight in then. Stefan?
Hey all. So thanks to everyone who came to the triage meeting last week. So a couple of stats for you. There's 72 total open issues in the Metal3 org. So 27 are untriaged, which we can take care of in the next meeting. So there's 45 issues that are triaged. A little more than 24 of them I think we handled last week, so some of them were already gone through. And then we managed to go ahead and mark 8 issues as good first issues. So I think it was a lot of good progress. I think it was pretty productive. We ended up closing a bunch of issues. I didn't keep track of how many we closed, but I think it was 3 or 4. There's still a few to-dos on my part. I apologize, and I haven't had a chance to do it yet. But I want to write down the process somewhere. So hopefully before next Wednesday, when we'll do the next triage, I'll get a PR up so we can continue discussion about how we handle certain things. There was some follow-up discussion on Slack after the meeting last week. So I think there's still a few things to work out in the process. So of course, we'll make a first pass whenever an issue gets opened by a user. We'll triage it, add some labels to it. But very often issues are going to become inactive. They might not get updated for many months. They might not be relevant anymore. So I'm not sure what the best approach is for that, whether we review everything periodically, or maybe issues that don't get updated after a certain amount of time we go through. And then in some projects I've worked in the past, if an issue doesn't get updated, say in 3 months or something, there's a bot that goes through and close it. I think some things like that we should probably work out. I don't know if you want to discuss that now, or maybe we can discuss it on a PR once I actually get the process that we have now written down. But yeah, definitely interested in feedback about the process and ways to improve it.
Yeah, it probably would be a bit more inclusive if we do the discussion over the PR, right? So that everybody has time to see it, and whoever is not attending the meeting will also see the discussion.
Yeah, I think it's a bit easier to at least discuss a process like that once there's something written down. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to do it since the last meeting. The last week has been pretty busy. But I will do my best to get something open, hopefully by the end of this week, and we can get some discussion going before the next triage meeting.
Anybody wants to add something on this topic? Okay, then let's move on to the next one. So Kashif will not attend the meeting today. He is the one who is taking care of this pivoting and the adaptation of the pivoting workflow from Capi to handle Metal3 specific elements. So right now the work that has been done includes adding a new container in the metal operator deployment that is a basic keeper IVD with some specific configuration so that it can move between nodes without there needs to be an interface that is stable across all nodes in the cluster so that we are able to bind on this interface. So this is achieved by adding, for example, a bridge or a MacBLAN on all nodes. But in order to add this new container. So we are creating a new deployment and new customizations, and we also need to have a new image in the to store the adapted KeeperID image. So we are proposing to create a new repository on k.io for this KeeperID and restructure the deploy folder in bare metal operator to have multiple customizations, one for each target environment. Let's say we would keep the default as is now, and then like create a Metal3 specific one, probably there to be able to support the pivoting. Yeah. So would it be okay to proceed with this k.io creation, repository creation? Well, I guess no answer is good news. Shall we move on then? Digomba, are you on the call?
Yeah. Hi. Are you able to hear? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So currently, I think yesterday we have got a repo created for our PR. We are working on new repo for PR60, and as per the new, we have linked that repo to existing PR60. Now it is up for approval. So that is one of the point. Then, yeah, this is the PR. Add support for expected hardware configuration validation. So second point is adding NUMA parameters in bare metal host. So that is some of the thing we are working on another PR. This PR is regarding adding a NUMA structure after the introspection. So there is a NUMA structure. Ironic already gives us NUMA parameters, but Metal3 doesn't have it. So we are adding that. But the dependency here is to because there is no Gopher Cloud API doesn't have NUMA structure or section. That's the reason via Gopher Cloud API it is not returning the NUMA details. So we have open ticket in issue in Gopher Cloud, and we are working on the PR for the Gopher Cloud. And once that PR merges, we'll update that PR here. So this is the dependency, and third is the boot parameter. I think this is the thing. Current boot mode is not available, and that's the reason we have to add the support for current boot mode in bare metal host CRD, and that's the PR regarding this. So I request everyone to go through all of these PRs. So it will be good if you comment it early, and as earliest as possible, it will get approved. It will be good.
Can you expand a bit on the boot mode and what that's for? Is that kernel parameters that you need to pass to the deployed OS, or is that the method of booting the node via Ironic?
I didn't get you. Can you come again?
I'm just wondering if I haven't had a chance to read the proposal, so I can follow up and do it.
Okay.
If you prefer, but I just wondered if you give us like a 1-minute summary of the boot parameters you need, and the reason for adding them.
It's UEFI plus BIOS versus BIOS.
Yeah, I think I request you to go through the PRs because we are working on. Prakash is there.
Yeah, I'm there. You go ahead. Describe the missing parameters stuff. What missing parameters we need? We can really get a hang of what we are asking, what the ask is.
Yeah.
You share your screen, maybe.
No, I see your screen. So I think we have gone through the introspection parameters and Metal3 CRD, but from the airship side, these are some of the proposals in airship we needed, and it is open, and it is targeted for bare metal host. And as per the discussion with airship team, we have compared introspection data from the ironic and the missing, and compared the parameters supported in Metal3 bare metal host CRD. And these are some of the parameters we think it will be useful for, like current boot mode will be useful for user or operator. That's what decided. And that's the reason we have separated out this from the NUMA. And NUMA will be certainly helpful for the NFP and other providers, operators. And that's the reason we need to use NUMA support in the bare metal host CRD. That's the reason these are two proposals created separately for adding missing parameters. So this is the intention behind this. You can go through the entire proposals. I think the Duggan and Sanab is working on. They are looking into it. I request everyone to go through it to get more details on it. I hope this explanation is, you got the point.
Yeah, so we have three separate pools. One is pool 60, which we had for the hardware configuration validation, and support for NUMA and boot parameter and boot mode, etc. in the second one. And the third one is, no, sorry, the second one is only the NUMA and the boot. NUMA and the other one, what was that, Digambar? One is the NUMA, the CPU, the other is for the NIC, right?
No, NUMA it's NUMA only. NUMA contain everything, CPU, RAM, and NIC.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, okay. And the third one is related to the boot mode itself, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. So why are they separate? Yeah, because we have to do it separately, individually to get the patches.
Yeah,
So
because NUMA has dependency on Gopher Cloud, so we have to add a structure in Gopher Cloud to support NUMA. And boot is something different from the NUMA. So as per the Doug and Sanip's comment, we have created two proposals, two PRs, separating out boot and
Okay, thank you. Any further comments?
sorry.
did you say you will add the comments or something? What is
I'm asking if anybody has
any comments? Okay. Yeah, but do you have in your team anybody who can detail each one of them a little bit more? Digambar?
I think this is all
60
about this.
60 is already taken care, right? Basically, we do have the necessary repo for that. So we need, what do we need is we need repo for the next two, right? So
no, we don't need repo for next two. I think these are the ones we are working. These are the PRs.
Okay, so you do have the repo.
Implementation. These are the implementation will be in bare metal operator.
Yeah, okay. So do you have any ask in the sense, what do community need to support you or do something for you to ensure that we can get this through?
So I request they review it and
okay, no. So your request is for review and get it out as early so that you can start on the coding portion, right? So the specs have to be approved. So you are asking for a specs approval, right?
Correct.
So Ms. Garima or somebody wants to talk about any of these three? NUMA? Who was working on NUMA? Ashu or?
If nobody is available, we don't have to walk through them now. Like we can also just review them offline and go.
Yeah, no problem.
Discuss it.
No problem. So no, if discussion, if anybody wants to add anything, that's what I'm asking from the team which is working on it. Anybody? Okay.
That's all.
Okay, so you don't have anything to add. Okay.
Okay, good. Let's continue then.
Yeah.
Ricardo?
So can I just raise my concern about the boot mode one is that if we get it from the inspection data, we're not actually showing the current boot mode. We're just showing the boot mode from when the inspection happened one time in the past, which doesn't seem that useful to me. I think what we really need is a way to set the boot mode and to tell us what if the host is currently provisioned, what mode it was booted in. Like, that's useful. Like, just knowing what it could have been booted into one time doesn't seem that useful. So
sure. To that extent, yes, we do have another. I think the work on the boot mode is under Fujitsu, I believe. There is one more PR, and that which Rashid is following. So set boot mode is one. To get the boot mode first, which boot mode are you using? Are you using the UEFI? Are you using some other parameters? So there is separate. That is separate. That's not to be confused with this one. That Fujitsu and there is a team, Rashid and Noor, they are following up. And they have said that if the Fujitsu pull request, which is already that is getting approved, then they can add the delta on other parameters. And this is also a separate one, but because each one is dealing with different pre-boot and boot and then boot mode and then post-boot, there are different places where we need all this to enable ionic usage. So that's the case here from Metal3. So this is the reason for all these various PRs which are popping up of late.
Yeah, so there's at least 3 discussions ongoing about various aspects of boot mode, which are all related but kind of happening in parallel. So,
yeah, the combinations are there. We have seen the issue request 302 and other issue requests. Ultimately, they are boiling down to pointing to these PRs. And there is one more PR I'll ask, Rashid and Noor to bring that so that you will have a comprehensive view of where all people are merging from Metal3 onwards to Airship to ultimately they have to come to Metal3 to Ionic. So that's the Metal3 Ionic interface and Ionic itself. Those are the 2 which we are looking, pre-boot and once you boot, then what do you do, kind of. Yeah, we do have a view of it. If you want, we can present later. At this time, I don't have Rashid. Is he there? Rashid there? No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. We can get them to the one which you set boot mode. Yep, that is also there in the whole slew of things too.
Yeah, I just think it might be useful to try and consolidate the discussion in one place.
Yep, absolutely.
We're discussing all aspects of boot mode together, trying to carry on 3 separate discussions.
So under these work items, we'll add that, ask them to add so that we know it's comprehensive, you get a full 9 yard. Okay, we'll do that.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Should we move on then?
Absolutely.
And Ricardo, floor is yours. Look like Ricardo might not be here.
If Ricardo's not here, I can probably raise a topic which.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, sorry. It's just my audio sometimes. It doesn't work very well. Sorry. So just an announcement very quickly that basically all the upstream images are now based on CentOS 8, except for the last one that we're missing there, but it's almost merged.
Okay, thank you. And what's the status then with the Metal3 Dev migration?
Yeah, so that was the topic I was about to raise. Ricardo and I discussed that yesterday, and there's actually 2 PRs up. There's one which is basically adding the audio repos, which now exists for CentOS 8. But I had a previous patch which was basically trying to avoid using the audio repos at all, because we now have the containerized virtual BMC and Sushi Tools containers. So the only thing we actually depend on from the audio repos now is the Python client, so Ironic client and OpenStack client. So it might be nice to avoid having to use the audio repos just for those 2 dependencies. And so, you know, we could switch back to pip installing, maybe pip install ---- user for all platforms. The other option I was thinking might be quite nice is if we had a client container that had the client inside, then we could just spin up the container to run the client instead of having, you know, dependencies on the host. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that because there's a couple of PRs which I'll link into the minutes, which will probably benefit from wider review, so we can decide the direction there.
Okay, thank you. Any further comment related to this CentOS 8 move? Okay, if you're not speaking, can you please mute your microphone? There's a bit of echo. Thank you. Then next topic, Arvinder.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I created a ticket basically to ask that we start actually publishing releases. Given the size of this project now, it would, I think, make a lot of sense to have some regularly published releases. And in that regard, we can use the cluster API model of how they publish releases, which works relatively well for them. And this also applies not just to CapVM, but also to the bare metal operator. So yeah, and on top of that, there's some redesign work that's happening with the new version of Cluster Kettle. That's going to require any infrastructure provider to basically also have a release model, at least on their GitHub repository, have a release available to pull and deploy using Cluster Kettle.
Okay.
So how do we make this happen? It should be pretty straightforward, I think, on the CapVM side. The makefile, if you take a look, already has most of what you need to issue a release. I think that's just been copied over from an earlier project, probably, or a reference project.
Yeah.
The bare metal operator doesn't have much in the makefile, but it could probably pretty easily be adapted over.
Yeah, in the KPM one, we need to revisit it. Yeah, there's one thing that is a bit problematic in the release comments, let's say. So we're gonna like maybe rework it a tiny bit. And also there's another, there's kind of a bug, let's say, that needs to be fixed for V1 Alpha 2 that we want to get in before cutting any release, but it hopefully shouldn't take too long.
Okay, but you can always issue sort of, like I mentioned here, this semantic versioning, which is pretty much everybody uses it now. You can issue releases all the time, right? You can issue major and minor releases, even patches and so forth. So, you know, having an initial release out is not, you know, you don't have to wait for patches to come in to issue a release necessarily. But
I don't know, if you need for the release right now, we can cut it. That's not a problem.
I would say in the next couple of days, if that's possible. And again, I would say for both projects, right, for both repositories. If you like, I can make the necessary changes to cut a release. Unfortunately, like I said in the comments, I can't actually cut a release because I don't have the requirements. But any changes that need to be made primarily to the makefile, I can go ahead and make those.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, you can go for it. Then we won't do it then.
I mean, I can't cut a release, right? But I can make the changes. I can issue a PR for the make files.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
And then whenever that's ready, we're gonna get the release then.
Perfect.
Okay, then if no more comments, let's go back to the agenda. I guess there's no.
Can I ask a quick question? I missed the first couple of minutes. I'm curious as to what the pivoting work on BMO is at the very top.
Oh, yeah. So basically, we're working in the on this like pivoting action, because basically we're missing. Just taking the pivoting from clusterctl doesn't pivot anything related to bare metal operator. So we have been adding some things, let's say, to in cluster control v1 alpha 2 to be able to migrate all the resources that are related to the bare metal operator, so the BMH, the secrets that come with it, and everything. The only problem being that bare metal operator is quite has some requirements related specifically to the networking. So we have had to have a workaround to have either a bridge or a MAC-VLAN interface on the actual interface of the provisioning network, so that we are able to have a predictable interface name on the network, on the provisioning network, so that we can bind our Ironic and KeepAliveD containers on this wherever they land in the target cluster during the pivoting. So there has been a bit of rework related to this, and need to add KeepAliveD container in the whole thing. So we are going to modify a bit the deploy folder of bare metal operator, and then create a k.io updated KeepAliveD image for this purpose.
Okay. Yeah, the only reason I brought that up was because there's currently discussions for a redesign of how pivoting works, and I'm not sure you guys are aware of that.
Yes, we are.
Okay, you are. So yeah. The model is going to change quite a bit. Pivoting won't be pivoting anymore. I guess they're calling it a move, and the move is really going to be moving cluster API CRs from one management cluster to another management cluster.
Yeah, we've been discussing with Fabrizio. Fabrizio is the guy who is taking care of it, because we have this kind of like nested dependency that are like, well, BMH and whatever is needed for BMH. But as long as we don't agree on a clear way to let's say to refer to resources that are used, then it's going to be problematic. So there was some work done on the clusterctl v1 alpha 3 to clarify this like dependency and establishing this tree, but it's still not fully completed and is not usable as is right now for us.
Okay, yeah, Fabrizio's the right guy to talk to. Perfect, great.
I'll summarize something there after the meeting in the notes. Okay, is there any other item that is not on the agenda now that someone would like to discuss?
Yeah, so actually we have set up a BMO, and we are now testing our Metal3 setup. But some of the time, whenever we start inspecting, whenever we start the inspection for the one of the bare metal CRD, it gets stuck in the inspecting state. So is there any, what is the possible issues there? How we can debug it? That's the.
Have you opened a PR on this? Because I saw something like this, a PR in one of the bare metal operator. Sorry, a PR, an issue on the bare metal operator.
Okay. Okay, we'll open an issue on this.
No, but was it yours, or because there was definitely already something like this in the issues.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
let me go through the issues, and if there is something.
Is this yours or not?
Right. The same thing. Same thing.
Okay, then please comment on this issue. There's already some discussion ongoing, and a PR made maybe to fix one of the problems that was found out.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
I don't think that's going to fix the problem, but it might.
Oh, so the root cause for this one was not found.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Or not confirmed anyway. But there was definitely an error in the logs which doesn't need to be there. So the PR will stop that error from happening. I don't think that error was what was causing it to get stuck, but it's possible it could have been.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Thank you. Nothing from me.
The question is then, do we want to do like in CAPI, where they go through the different issues and do some issue triage when there's some time left after the meeting, or do we just keep it for next week?
Are you talking about the copy pivoting?
No, that now that we have a bit of time left in the meeting, should we go through the open issues to triage them, or should we just keep that for next week?
No, we can go through if you have something. Let's go through.
Is Stefan on the call still or not?
Do we have the right people to do that?
Yeah, Stefan is not on the call, so maybe we should just wait for him and do it next week.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, then I guess that's the meeting is over half hour earlier, and have a nice evening, nice day, depending where you are, and see you next week.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time, and we'll also consolidate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.